To make our Alix square knot bracelet, we need a board to work on, some bulldog clips, a piece of scrap cord, a pair of scissors and some masking tape, a tape measure to measure our finished bracelet, a button as our closure, making sure that the cord that we're going to use fits through the eyes of the button. We need cord for our core and then cord for the outside of our bracelet. Now we're ready to start making our Alix square knot bracelet. Make a loop with your scrap piece of cotton and attach it to the top of the board with your bulldog clip. You then fold your core cord in half and you thread your button, sliding it to the center of your core cord. Put the button through the loop at the top of the board and then attach it to the bottom of the board with the other bulldog clip, making sure that the cord is taut. With your long piece of knotting cord, thread one end of it underneath the core cord until the long cord is centered on the core cord. A piece of tape will hold this cord in place until you tie the first knot. Put a knot in the cord you're going to lead with, and this is always going to be the first cord that you'll use across the core cord. Tie the first half of the square knot, removing the tape when you tighten the knot, and tighten the knot immediately underneath the button. Check that both sides of the cord are equal lengths. This is very important, and if it isn't equal lengths, redo that first knot. They can be out a few centimetres but not much more. Then tie the second half of the knot from the left hand side and tighten it underneath the button. Keep tying your square knots with an even tension. A good mantra to say to yourself is over, over, under, up. When tying your square knots, try to keep as even a tension as you can. That will make for a neater bracelet. Keep tying your square knots as evenly and as neatly as you can. Be careful if you're using leather that you don't over tighten, because the leather can snap on you because of the way that it's made. Remember your mantra, over, over, under, up. By now you get to the stage that you'll need to take a measurement in your bracelet. Depending on how long you want the bracelet to be, you need to measure from underneath the button to the bottom of your square knot. You'll probably have to measure a couple of times before you get the right length that you want. When you're making the bracelet, have two measurements, the overall finished measurement and the measurement to that first overhand knot. For example, in this bracelet that I'm making, the finished size has to be 20 centimetres, and I decided to stop my square knots at 17 3/4 centimetres. When you're happy with the length, unclip the cords from the bottom of the board and untie the knot from the leading cord. Tie an overhand knot with all 4 cords, tightening up the knot 1 cord at a time. I tend to do this twice just to make sure that my knot is secure. Once you're happy that you have a secure knot, you then tie a second overhand knot, and the space between the 2 knots should be the size that your button is. If you have a round button, it needs to be the diameter of the button. If, like me, you have an oval button, you make it the shortest side. Before you tighten the second overhand knot, make sure that your button will go through the gap that you've left between the 2 knots. Only once you're happy that the button will fit do you then tighten the second overhand knot in the same way as you did before, 1 strand at a time. You then fasten the bracelet, making sure that the button actually fits through the gap before you cut the ends off. Once you're happy that the button actually fits through the gap and can tie, you can then cut the ends off. I tend to leave 1 centimetre or 3/4 of an inch. Then admire your handiwork. You've made a beautiful bracelet.